Welcome to today's brand origin deep dive. You've heard of the product, but do you know how forgotten corporate labs and a simple office supply reshaped computing interaction forever? We're peeling back the layers to uncover the surprising, sometimes strange story of a digital assistant that became an icon. If you find value in this kind of storytelling, consider liking the video and subscribing. It helps more than you know. Also, drop a comment below letting me know where you're watching from or your first memory of this quirky character. Let's dive in and discover how it all began. You step into the hushed, fluorescent-lit corridors of a place few remember now. Corporate labs brimming with the late 90s belief that software could feel more human. Here, amongst stacks of research papers on user interface agents and dog-eared copies of AI textbooks, the concept of a helpful digital sidekick began to stir. Developers, fueled by caffeine and conviction, coded late into the night, genuinely believing they were forging the very future of computing interaction. Early design documents reveal sketches far removed from the final product. Complex, sometimes overly literal avatars that look more like robotic pets or miniature professors. Yet, even amidst this initial optimism, subtle hints of concern ripple through internal debates. Arguments about just how much anthropomorphism was too much fill meeting minutes. A major historical turning point occurs when the team commits to the idea of a persistent on-screen character, a digital guide meant to simplify complex tasks, but finding the right form proves tricky. A quirky, lesser-known detail from this period shows one rejected prototype was a bobblehead-like creature deemed too distracting. The Paperclip, surprisingly, emerges almost accidentally from a brainstorming session focused on simple, universally recognizable shapes. It's chosen for its perceived friendliness and lack of pre-existing baggage, instantly imbued with the weight of future expectation. The symbolic thread of the paperclip's shape is introduced right here. Simple, ubiquitous in the physical world, now tasked with embodying digital life. Analysts continue to question the reasoning behind choosing such a mundane object for such an ambitious role. You find cryptic notes scrawled in margins, hinting at potential roadblocks. Phrases like user tolerance threshold and managing unexpected behaviors, casting a small, early shadow over the bright, hopeful vision. Building on what came before, the brand takes its first bold step onto the global stage. This is Section 2, the unveiling. You witness the grand launch event, a spectacle of bright lights and even brighter marketing materials, promising a revolutionary software suite, a true leap forward in productivity. Central to the fanfare is the introduction of a small, animated character designed to help you navigate this brave new world, the Paperclip Assistant. You can almost feel the glossy texture of the original packaging, the heft of the thick, printed manuals, and hear the slightly muffled, undeniably cheesy snippets of the live launch audio echoing with corporate optimism. This external polish, however, masks the first real cracks forming within the project team. Internally, the mood is far from unified celebration. You see presentations detailing early focus group data, revealing decidedly mixed reactions. Some charmed, many confused, others outright irritated. Designers are locked in heated arguments over fundamental decisions, like whether the assistant should be on by default or require user opt-in. A debate driven by differing views on helpfulness versus intrusiveness. Meanwhile, project managers, staring down looming deadlines, push relentlessly, often overriding user feedback in the sprint towards market release. This pressure cooker environment shifts the emotional core from hopeful innovation to the stark reality of market adoption and the need for quick wins. The simple animation of the paperclip, the curious wiggle, the expectant, wide-eyed blink, intended to be universally engaging, is already proving divisive, interpreted by some as friendly, by others as annoying, or even slightly unnerving. Brand historians still debate whether prioritizing the launch date over addressing this early negative feedback was the critical error that sealed the assistant's fate. The narrative deepens with the quiet introduction of metrics like opt-out rates and internal discussions pivoting from enhancing user experience to managing user annoyance. But that initial wave of optimistic rollout soon crashed against the sharp edges of reality for everyday users. As explored in the previous phase, the idea was born from helpful intent, but its execution began to grate. You dive into the digital archaeology, ancient forum archives, leaked customer service logs, buried internal bug reports, and a picture of widespread annoyance emerges. Complaints range from politely worded pleas to "make the paperclip go away" to outright, all-caps hostility. The assistant, meant to be a friendly guide, is now widely perceived as an intrusive, often condescending presence, popping up at the most inconvenient moments. Behind the scenes, panic sets in. This period marks a major historical turning point. Frantic attempts to quell the digital rebellion. Teams scramble to tweak algorithms, hoping to limit appearances or soften the overly eager tone. Design meetings grapple with the visual identity, even considering radical departures. You find a quirky, lesser-known detail from this era, a shelved internal proposal labeled Clippy alternatives, featuring bizarre potential replacements like a talking dog or a bouncing purple sphere, none of which ever saw the light of day. Brand historians still debate whether the core concept was fundamentally flawed or if execution errors doomed it from the start. The emotional shift within the company is palpable, from proud innovation to damage control and confused desperation. The paperclip's iconic question bubble and phrases like, "It looks like you're writing a letter," morph from helpful nudges into cultural shorthand for software frustration, ripe for mockery. This deep internal divide and the public outcry begin to foreshadow the ultimate painful decision to make the assistant optional. Building on the data that screamed for change, you arrive at the pivotal moment, the unplugging. This is the point of no return, the corporate decision to make the assistant optional and eventually quietly remove it by default from future software versions. Inside the company, this sparks a palpable conflict. There are still proponents who believed deeply in the helpful, animated vision, pragmatists who simply looked at the data and saw falling usage and user frustration, and developers who, having poured years into the project, felt a complex mix of failure and perhaps even a sense of betrayal. This major turning point wasn't marked by a dramatic press conference, but rather by internal memos detailing the technical decommissioning process. You see instructions for migrating the assistant's files, steps for changing installation defaults, and plans for sunsetting support infrastructure. The quirky, lesser-known detail here is just how quiet the removal was. One version it was on by default, the next you had to hunt through menus to find it. A digital Easter egg for the persistent user. Analysts continue to question the reasoning behind such a low-key retreat for something once so prominent, a brand element that had become the unwitting mascot of a generation of software. The emotional shift is profound. For the creators, it's defeat or perhaps reluctant acceptance of the inevitable. For many users, it's sheer relief, like finally getting that annoying jingle out of your head. The symbolic thread of the paperclip evolves. It becomes a ghost in the machine, a silent icon in a long list of features you could choose to disable, a symbol of something once omnipresent, now relegated to an optional setting. But as you'll see, its story doesn't truly end here. It stubbornly refuses to disappear from collective memory. But removing the paperclip assistant from the core product wasn't the end. In fact, it was just the beginning of its most bizarre and enduring chapter. Cast out from the corporate machine, the digital paperclip found a strange new afterlife in the nascent, chaotic world of early internet culture. You see, users initially expressed their frustration, venting on forums and early social sites about their least favorite digital nuisance. This sparks the birth of Clippy hate. Communities, online spaces dedicated to mocking and celebrating the assistant's failure. Yet, as online culture evolves, hate unexpectedly morphs into something else entirely: ironic appreciation. This transition marks a major turning point. The paperclip becomes a meme legend. Fan art appears everywhere, from crude drawings to intricate animations shared across archived snapshots of early web pages and image boards. Users reclaim the simple shape, stripping away its corporate function and redefining its meaning through layers of humor and absurdity. It becomes an icon of early computing, a shared cultural touchstone for anyone who lived through its reign. A quirky detail from this era: some of the earliest fan creations imagined Clippy in bizarre crossover scenarios, interacting with everything from popular video game characters to political figures, highlighting just how quickly the user base seized creative control. This era signifies a complete loss of corporate control over the brand identity. While the company tried to bury its creation, users unearthed it, polished it with irony, and gave it a bizarre, posthumous fame it never achieved in its designed role. Its simple shape, once a symbol of annoying intrusion, now carries a complex, multifaceted cultural weight tied to nostalgia and internet humor. Analysts continue to question the reasoning behind the company's initial radio silence regarding Clippy's explosion in internet culture, wondering if embracing the phenomenon could have changed its trajectory. But the paperclip, the digital ghost, lives on, a testament to how users, not corporations, ultimately dictate a brand's strange, unexpected destiny, perhaps even hinting at future, ironic reappearances. And so we arrive at the lingering question. You've seen the journey from ambitious feature to cultural icon. But what is the final verdict on this simple paperclip? Despite being officially retired, it refuses to disappear entirely. Today, you find it everywhere, popping up as an emoji, adorning sticker packs, resurfacing as a nostalgic Easter egg in modern software design, even becoming the subject of serious academic papers on user interface and human-computer interaction. It's a bona fide internet meme figure, proving that its impact transcended its original purpose. This persistence forces us to ask, what does the paperclip truly symbolize about our relationship with technology? Was it a genuine attempt at helpfulness, or the ultimate example of intrusive design? Brand historians still debate whether its fundamental concept was flawed or simply ahead of its time, hampered by the technology of its era. The core conflict it embodied, the desire for intelligent assistance versus the user's fundamental need for agency and control, feels more relevant than ever in the age of omnipresent AI and smart assistants. The Paperclip Assistant is a strange, enduring symbol, holding within its simple shape layers of corporate history, user frustration, and inexplicable internet folklore. Is it a cautionary tale of well-meaning features gone wrong, or the story of an agent misunderstood? Perhaps it's both, leaving us to ponder if this digital specter is truly gone, or merely waiting in the digital ether for another chance to help. As we slow down our exploration of this unique brand story, the Paperclip's legacy offers some key takeaways. It reminds us how deeply technology intersects with human emotion, how innovation, no matter how well-intended, must navigate the complex landscape of user perception and cultural response. The journey of this simple shape, from a tool meant to simplify tasks to a figure of internet mythology, highlights the unpredictable nature of cultural memory and branding. This brand's tale is a powerful illustration of how even the most minor design choices can spark significant reactions, shaping not just a product's fate, but also its lasting symbolic meaning. It teaches us that user feedback, even when expressed through frustration or ridicule, is an invaluable part of the design process and brand evolution. And maybe, just maybe, the soul of a brand is never in its product, but in the people, stories, and stumbles that shape it.